In a political bombshell that's sending shockwaves through Washington, two former Democrat stars have crossed the aisle. Tulsi Gabbard has officially endorsed Donald Trump, and RFK Jr. has just joined his transition team. Is this the death knell for the Democrat Party as we know it, or is this the birth of a new political era? Buckle up, folks, because this is a bigger story than you could imagine. That's right. Now listen closely. In these turbulent political times, protecting your wealth is more crucial than ever. Gold prices have skyrocketed past $2,400 an ounce this year as the U.S. dollar weakens. With our astronomical national debt and countries abandoning the OPEC agreement, smart investors are turning to precious metals. So don't be left behind. Secure your future with Global Gold Investments, America's trusted conservative precious metals dealer. The number on the screen, 888-700-4148. Give them a call for your free portfolio analysis and the essential 2024 Insure Your Money Guide. Mention Next News for priority service. Your financial security can't wait. Act now. Okay, let's jump into this story. Now, here, just a few hours ago, Robert F. Kennedy putting this out on his X account, stating that Wonder Woman has just joined the Justice League. And he has a picture here of Tulsi Gabbard in her uniform. Quite an interesting post. Wonder Woman joining the Justice League. Johnny Midnight posting a screenshot of Dan Bongino's post. When a lifelong Democrat from an iconic Democrat family who tried to run as a Democrat and whose running mate was a Democrat warns you about the dangers of voting for a Democrat in this election, you should probably listen. Here is Tulsi Gabbard officially endorsing President Trump, saying he'll put a stop to the endless wars.
Doing all that I to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief. Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its
against its people. That's what's happening. Tulsi Gabbard officially endorsing Donald Trump. Also, Dr. Phil posting an interview for his Merit TV show. Donald Trump says the mainstream media is not accurately portraying his recent comments about voting in the next cycle. We'll get to that clip in a moment here. But let's go to Trump first, who's formally announced that Tulsi Gabbard joined the campaign.
Veteran, and today I'm honored to officially welcome another true American patriot, a 17-year veteran of the Hawaii Army National Guard, a 4-term Democrat congresswoman, very, very popular, the former vice chair of the National Democratic Party and a 2020 Democrat candidate for the United States presidency. You know, she was a very good candidate. Every time she ran, she was good. She did well. She decided to leave. She couldn't take it anymore, but she is very special. And I didn't know this, but she was a lieutenant colonel. That's not bad. Lieutenant colonel. Not bad. I didn't know that. You know, I just found out. I said, put it down. You got to put that down. That's bigger. That's better than all the other stuff I read. But no, she's a special person. She's got great common sense, great spirit. She loves our country, and she loves the people in this room. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, please.
We were told there were more Democrats going to be joining Trump's team, Tulsi being the first among them.
Today I'm honored
after, oh goodness, that was horrible. Let's see. Also, a new ad is out for Donald Trump. Everybody is raving about it. So maybe we should just play it.
I love everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Biomics. A loaf of bread cost 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Biomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Biomics.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad ad. Let's take a look at the moment Kamala Harris. She's trying to change the rules for the September 10th ABC debate. Wants to be seated with a cheat sheet. And of course, the media is twisting Donald Trump's recent words, saying he's chickening out of the debate, but no, he's not. That's not going to happen.
There are too many examples. I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. Wow. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Yeah, totally burned on that one right there. Another note came in here. October surprise, iSource News. Biden to resign. This has been one of the big concerns that we've had. Confidential source says Democrats want to make Kamala president before the vote. Apparently this is developing, but this is rumored to be one of the strategies. In fact, Vivek Ramaswamy had mentioned it. We played it in a previous report. Mr. Reagan has repeatedly made this point very clear that this is what they would do to extend the honeymoon period. Could you imagine what would happen? October, Biden steps down due to health reasons, conveniently right before the election. And they have a whole swearing-in ceremony and all the speeches. Now it's President Kamala, Vice President Walz. The media would go nuts. It would make that campaign go supernova. That's their wild card. And now, according to this account, that's going to be the October surprise. Well, I hope this account is dead wrong. The Post-Millennial posting Kamala's campaign demands seated debate with notes for the September 10th ABC event. According to this poll, let's take a look. This is News Nation.
Trump. Polling from voters of tomorrow show Harris beating Trump by a whopping 32 points among those 18 to 29 years old in 7 battleground states. This is as of Tuesday. 54% said they would vote for Harris. 22% said they would vote for Donald Trump. Polling from voters
so that's a voting block.
Tomorrow show Harris beating Trump by a whopping 32 points among those 18 to 29 years old.
18 to 29 years old. I don't think they're going to swing this. I don't think they're going to swing that whole election. to be honest with you. And since we have RFK joining forces with Donald Trump, of course, the knives are out. I'm not sure if you've seen all the headlines that they're just attacking him, saying he slept with all these women 20 years ago, and like I just saw a headline that they said he cut the head off a whale and put it on his car. Like, what? This stuff it doesn't even sound real. But they're going to put these headlines out there just to continue to try to smear him, so people will somehow, like, not vote for RFK, not vote for Trump. It's all ridiculous. And even his family members are coming out attacking him. Well, you know, every Kennedy family member who is attacking RFK, what are they doing? What exactly are they doing to better this country? How are they capitalizing on their name to make this country a better place? I don't see them on the campaign trail. No, they're not sacrificing their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor. That's what RFK's been doing when he's been on the campaign trail. But of course, you got family members attacking him. Here is this is Carrie Kennedy saying she's disgusted by her brother's obscene embrace of Donald Trump.
You know, I think this is really the stakes this November couldn't be higher, which is exactly why my whole family will be fighting so hard to reelect Kamala Harris and Coach Waltz, who've been champions for the values that my family has fought for years. Donald Trump is the polar opposite. He's a threat to the most basic freedoms that are core to who we are as Americans, the right for women to control our bodies. The right to live in communities safe from gun violence, to love who you love. And I think if my dad were alive today, the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents. His lying, his selfishness, his rage, his cynicism, hatred, racism, fascist sympathies.
Oh, my God.
Deliberate misinformation about vaccines, criminal felony convictions. Daddy was the...
She's reading off a list right in front of her.
Attorney General of the United States. His rape of E. Jean Carroll, his contempt for the poor and suffering, for ethics, democracy, healing, his cruel sneering at human rights for suffering of people.
Wow, she's got the list down pat.
In America and around the world. And these are the causes that was loved so passionately by the real Robert Kennedy. So I'm outraged and disgusted by my brother's gaudy and obscene embrace of Donald Trump. And I completely disavow and separate and dissociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. in this flagrant and inexplicable effort to desecrate and trample and set fire to my father's memory.
Oh, man. Dude, she had that whole statement prepared. Jen Psaki just eating it up on MSNBC. But of course, you know, this wouldn't be the first family divided over a political argument, right? I'm sure you probably had the same problem. You know, you go ahead and support Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden you're a racist and a white supremacist, right? Yeah. Of course. That's the nature of this election cycle. Continuing on, we've got this. This is interesting, I thought. RFK Jr. says he will end the crime of chemtrails. Somebody posted this. I call them tanker terminators. We are paid more than any other pilot. That's according to a chemtrail pilot whistleblower. I'm convinced the majority of them are remotely operated. The tech obviously exists, and there's way too many. Robert Kennedy actually chiming in, saying that he would stop the crime. See if I can get it up. I can't show it to you, unfortunately. Yeah, here it is. Just announced Trump Unity administration would stop chemtrails. He declared, we're going to stop this crime. I don't know if you can see that any better, but yeah. We're going to stop this crime. Kamala Harris asked what would happen if Donald Trump becomes president and rolls back all DEI programs. She waffles endlessly while nervously scratching her face. I mean, there's a reason why she doesn't go out and do interviews. There's a reason why she's afraid to debate on Fox News, is because she can't form a policy position. And if she does, it doesn't make any sense.
And
here's a perfect example.
Front, Axios this week reported that President Trump, if he gets a second term, will sort of dial back, for lack of a better term, DEI programs that the Biden administration has put in forth. I know you disagree with that. I obviously believe that you don't want him to get a second term. That said, if that does happen, what do you think that would do to race relations in this country?
Well, let me say we're going to win, so it's not going to happen. But I think that, listen, today is actually, I believe, an anniversary in terms of Dr. King, right?
Is it?
And I was just in Selma, and we acknowledged the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history, the parts that
just embrace your history
we're proud of, and the parts that we're not proud of, but that we can't forget.
I like school buses. I like yellow school buses too.
And we should all agree that we should teach history. We should learn history if we're to ever have an accurate idea of where we want to go and where we don't want to go in the future. And that means also acknowledging the importance of diversity. It means acknowledging the importance of the fact that everyone should have equal opportunity to compete and equity. And then, of course, inclusion.
Inclusion.
Hey,
of course, we should just acknowledge diversity and of course, equity and inclusion.
Around the room and see who's not here, and did we leave the door open?
Yeah. Which door? And let's take a look at this. Here's a clip here. It's almost impressive. May's more. It's almost impressive how absolutely shameless Kamala Harris and her campaign are. Here's Donald Trump, May of 2020, contrasted against Kamala in July 2024.
This is a tremendous. Will cap cost at just $35 a month per type of insulin, and some plans may offer it free. So for everybody who's getting ripped off and paying tremendous prices, senior citizens, is a tremendous saving.
It is President Biden and I that took on Big Pharma and finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. But Donald Trump and his running mate intend to get rid of our $35 cap on insulin.
Will cap cost is just
straight up lie. A straight up lie right there. These people have no shame at all. No shame. They will lie straight to the face of the American people, day in and day out. Health Ranger posting the Democrats don't need Kamala to be popular or intelligent or to even have a single policy in order to win this election. All they need to do is rig the polls, which has been done. We've been talking about that, right? Anytime you turn on the news, oh, Kamala, she's got, there's 51 to 49. Rig the polls, rig the voter rolls, count up all the illegitimate ballots and votes as if they were real coming November 5th. Gaslight the nation with the claim that Kamala has won and threaten to arrest anyone who questions the outcome. The DOJ already made this threat. Trump quite literally has as much as 90% of the popular vote right now. That's according to Martin Armstrong. But sophisticated cheating by the Dems makes real votes almost irrelevant. This is not a contest of voting. It's a contest of who counts the votes. And Dems will cheat, doing whatever it takes without any legal limits to try to stop and remain in power. How is the GOP and MAGA going to counter that? Great question. That's what terrifies me. Like, here you go. Here's one of those polls. Little pump tweeting out, ain't no way it's this close. Trump will have a landslide victory come November. If Kamala wins, communism's right around the corner. I might have to put some money where my mouth is to shut everyone up. Look at this poll. Polymarket 50 to 49. No way it's this close. Redheaded Libertarian, in case you are wondering why Kamala Harris has so many demands for the ABC debate, this is what happened last time she tried to be president. And this is the same clip that we played for you earlier. Here's RFK telling Tucker Carlson he'll be on Trump's transition team. This
amazing, corrupts the whole enterprise. So where do you, my last question, what happens now? You had this kind of amazing announcement with Donald Trump on Friday. It's now Monday, I think, which is 3 days ago. How do you spend from here until Election Day?
I'm going to work to get him elected. And you know, I'm working with the campaign. We're working on policy issues together. I've been asked to go onto the transition team and, you know, to help pick the people who will be running the government. And I'm looking forward to that. And
corrupts the whole.
So, Robert F. Kennedy joining the transition team. This is huge, huge news. And then we, of course, have Tulsi Gabbard making the endorsement. And RFK says his father and uncle will be ashamed of the modern-day Democrat Party, completely contrasting what his sister told MSNBC.
They prided and handpick a candidate who in 40 days now has not given a single interview on any media outlet. And I think about when my uncle and father would think about that. You know, they prided themselves on being able to go on debate. It was the centerpiece. You know, the whole, you know, function of democracy was to anneal ideas in the furnace of debate and have them rise up in you know, the marketplace of ideas. And the idea that, you know, and we had this British tradition of Churchill and the others in the House of Commons, you know, and being able to defend their policies and being forced to defend their policies articulately, eloquently. And, you know, my uncle and father just thought ideas are important and we should be able to defend them. And if you can't defend them, there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
And, you know, why? So we have a presidential candidate that was selected by the Democratic Party who can't do that. And, you know, one of the things that my uncle and father will always think about is how do we look to the rest of the world, right? They were conscious that America was the template for democracy. When we created a modern democracy in 1789 or 1791, when the Bill of Rights was ratified, we were the only democracy on earth. By 1865, during the end of the Civil War, there were 5, and they were all modeled on America. And by the time my uncle took office, there was about 150, and by the end of the 60s, there's 190. They're all based on American model. And, you know, we very much were the exemplary nation. We were the example of democracy around the globe, and they were very conscious. They were embarrassed at first by the civil rights movement because they said, what is the rest of the world going to think about it? And then they realized, well, we better correct, you know, the problem.
Yeah.
Because, but everything that they did, they were conscious that they were being watched. What is the rest of the world think of American democracy right now? That, you know, that we have in one party selected a man with dementia to lead the free world, and then turned around and picked a woman who cannot give an interview. She cannot defend her vision or America's record in the world. And then she gave this, you know, Vice President Harris gave this speech at the convention that was written by neocons. And they had CIA directors talking at the Democratic Convention, military people talking at the Democratic Convention. My father and my uncle were the party of anti-war. My uncle was asked by his best friend, Ben Bradley, one of his 2 best friends who ran the Washington Post, what do you want on your gravestone, your epitaph? And my uncle said immediately he kept the peace. He said the primary job of a president of the United States was to keep the country out of war. He said he didn't want children in Africa and Latin America and Asia, when they heard about the United States of America, to think of a man with a gun. They wanted them to think of a Peace Corps volunteer and the Alliance for Progress and USAID, which were programs that he created to build the middle class, to end run the oligarchs, end run the military juntas that used to receive U.S. aid, and instead go directly to the poor and build institutions, education and health and all of the institutions of democracy to continue to model it for the rest of the world and live up to what we were supposed to be doing, which is to encourage the growth of democratic rule and handpick a candidate.
God bless him. God bless RFK. God bless Tulsi Gabbard. God bless Donald Trump. So much is happening right now in the campaigns, and we're just waiting for that debate to happen. I think Donald Trump's going to mop the floor with her. I really would have liked to see her debate on Fox, because Donald Trump's not going to get a fair shake on any other network. So we'll have to wait and see. But the secret weapon has been unleashed. There's a new ad. We've got RFK going out and actively campaigning, being asked to join the transition team. Tulsi Gabbard officially joining the team. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have witnessed is nothing short of a political revolution. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. jumping ship to Team Trump is not just a story, it is a seismic shift in American politics. And the question now is, who is next? And more importantly, what does this mean for the future of our nation? So keep your eyes open, folks. The 2024 election just got a whole lot more interesting.